What if poverty is not merely an absence of coins, but a sentence written by your own hesitation? What if the very instinct that lies dormant in your veins is the key to tearing down the bars of scarcity? In the silence between breaths, a question echoes. Are you willing to become the predator in a world full of prey? Or will you remain the hunted, forever bound by the illusions of comfort and fear? Through the dark triad of money, we uncover three intertwined forces that sculpt our fate: ambition sharp as a blade, cunning silent as a shadow, and resilience colder than the steel of a trap. Nietzsche spoke of the will to power. Machiavelli whispered of advantage in the void. Foucault mapped the invisible networks binding our choices. Together they form the predator's creed. Adapt ruthlessly, strike decisively, and never show your wounds. Psychologically, we oscillate between predator and prey, our minds haunted by ancient echoes. Jung described the shadow as the self we refuse to see, the predator within demanding acknowledgement. When you deny this darker self, you remain trapped in the cycle of despair and dependency. Embracing your shadow, you harness a force older than civilization itself, an instinct honed for survival, now your most potent weapon against poverty's cruel designs. History offers brutal lessons written in blood and ledger entries. Alexander the Great forged an empire by outmaneuvering rivals who underestimated his relentless drive. During the Medici reign, clandestine financiers wielded wealth as blades, sharper than any sword. These predators understood one truth: money is not an end but a landscape to conquer. Their legacy reminds us that those who pity the weak seldom inherit the spoils of history. Only the ruthless ascend. Nietzsche's Übermensch transcends morality, forging values from its own will. In economic battles, you become Übermensch by rejecting the herd's weak morality. Forgo pity, embrace creation. Craft wealth not from charity, but from strategic vision. Cultivate power by mastering risk rather than avoiding it. Only then can you ascend beyond poverty's definitions, sculpting your destiny with the hammer of your unyielding will, and transforming scarcity into your forge. Schopenhauer warned that desire is the root of suffering, yet to renounce desire is to accept bondage to fate. Money amplifies this paradox. Seek it too fervently, and you become its slave. Renounce it too quickly, and misery devours you. The predator's path lies in disciplined desire. Hunger for growth but never desperation. Use wealth as a scalpel to excise weakness, rather than a cushion that lulls you into complacency. In the realm of symbols, the Ouroboros devours itself to renew. Your financial struggle mirrors this cosmic serpent. Destruction breeds creation. Jung would argue that transformation demands facing the devouring abyss within. Confront your own Ouroboros. Embrace the cyclical nature of gain and loss. Only by letting your resources die and reborn under your command can you break free from the fatal loop of scarcity. Machiavelli whispered, "It is better to be feared than loved when you cannot be both." In the marketplace of power, your presence must command respect, if not dread. Negotiations become hunting grounds. Every contract a duel where hesitation means death. Cultivate an aura that unsettles rivals and allies alike. Psychological dominance is the quietest roar of the predator, heard long before the strike. Foucault dissected power not as possession, but as a network flowing through institutions. Money is the blood nourishing these veins of influence. To think like a predator, map these networks. Identify the nodes where decisions are born, then inject your capital like a toxin or a cure. Master the subtle architecture of power, and the fortress of poverty will crumble from within. Camus celebrated the revolt against the absurd, embracing life's meaninglessness with an iron resolve. Poverty, too, is an absurd rebellion, a Sisyphean boulder of bills and debts. Yet the predator sees the absurd as opportunity. Each setback is a moment to affirm your freedom by rising again. In this existential arena, the only crime is surrender, the only virtue, unyielding defiance. Psychology teaches that survival instincts lurk beneath every polished facade. You are wired to scan for threats, to stalk and secure. Civilization dresses this urge in polite terms: competition, ambition, growth. But beneath the veneer, you Remain a hunter. Rediscover this instinct. Study behavioral patterns, anticipate moves. Strike when the moment is ripe. Your mind, sharpened and uncompromised, becomes your greatest ally. Tension rises when fear whispers of failure. You hear the echo of every past mistake, every missed chance. But fear is the predator's ally, not its enemy. It heightens your senses, hones your actions. Use it to fuel preparation, not paralysis. Let the trembling hands plan with ruthless precision, so when you move, you do so with the certainty of a killer freed from doubt. Your traumas are not chains, but keys. Each scar maps a lesson in vulnerability and resilience. Jung believed integration of wounds makes the psyche whole. Dig into your history, unearth the moments you cowered, convert them into fuel. Let the predator within dance on the bones of your past fears. Only by facing your own ruins can you construct the fortress of prosperity. Picture the lion on the savannah's edge, muscles coiled beneath golden fur. It does not question the worth of the hunt. It simply hunts. Symbolically, your financial world is a vast plain teeming with hidden prey, opportunities masked by doubt, wealth hidden behind obscurity. Stalk these chances with patience, strike with inevitability. In the end, the victor writes the narrative of the hunt. In the corridors of power, alliances are forged and shattered in whispers. Machiavelli taught us to keep friends close, enemies closer. Make strategic partnerships, not from loyalty, but from advantage. Use collective strength to breach impenetrable gates, then let your own ambitions guide the spoils. Remember, a predator's coalition is fluid, ever shifting with the winds of necessity. Jung's individuation demands balance, light and dark merged. The predator within must coexist with empathy, lest you become a monster. Channel your drive to uplift your network, not just exploit it. Offer value that cements your dominance. Ethically, in this integration, you transcend simple brutality, embodying a predator king whose legacy endures beyond mere accumulation. Nietzsche urged us to create ourselves as a work of art. Wealth becomes your medium. Sculpt habits, environments, and reputations with the finesse of an artisan. Transform scarcity into deliberate scarcity. Build mystery around your brand. Inspire reverence. In this masterpiece of self, poverty dissolves before the sheer force of your crafted identity. Practical predators study the terrain. Analyze markets like stalking ground. Understand risk like predator senses wind direction. Diversify your hunts, real estate, investments, intellectual property. Each pursuit a testing ground for strategy. When one strategy fails, you pivot, unburdened by false loyalty to past methods. Adaptation is your silent edge, hidden until the moment of decisive domination. But be warned, the darkest predators are those who lose themselves entirely. The path you tread is seductive, promising mastery but offering isolation. Foucault reminds us that power alienates. The throne is a lonely seat. Guard against your own abyss. Invite reflection, mentorship, and accountability. Even predators need mirrors to ensure they do not devour their own souls. Now, as you stand at the precipice of choice, ask yourself, will you remain complacent in the chorus of the hunted, or will you answer the call of the predator's heartbeat echoing in your chest? The dark triad beckons with its cold promise. Power, distilled to its purest form. Cunning sharpened like a blade, resilience tempered by relentless trial. Embrace it, and poverty's chains shatter. Reject it, and scarcity becomes your unending prison. Share your experiences, your visions, your fears. The night is thick with silent calculations. Every breath a ledger entry in the shadow market of your mind. What debts linger unpaid in your psyche, and what hidden assets of courage lie dormant, waiting for you to claim them as collateral. Imagine your will as a razor-sharp talon, scraping away illusions of safety. Every comfort zone you abandon is a trophy carved from complacency, proof that you are shedding the skin of the prey. There exists a currency beyond dollars, the price of perception. How much would you pay to be seen as formidable rather than fragile? Your reputation is a vault. Guard it fiercely, or watch it looted by whispers and doubts. In the predators, calculus, time is both quarry and weapon. You strike not when the moment feels right, but when the moment is inevitable. Patience becomes a predator's patience, still as midnight, then swift as lightning. The mind rehearses futures like a general plotting campaigns. Visualize victory in brutal detail. The contracts signed, the ledgers balanced, the envy in competitors' eyes. Such mental simulations forge decisive warriors of commerce. Your network is a web of potential leverage, each connection a thread to pull. Do not simply collect names. Curate relationships that bend the structure of opportunity toward your ambitions. Fear is the scent of fresh blood on the breeze, invigorating, vital. When doubt creeps in, treat it like prey testing your resolve. Let its tremors echo your readiness to pounce. Every setback carves grooves in your strategy, like a river cutting canyons through stone. Study these canyons. They reveal the true paths of resilience and innovation that lie beneath the surface. Power seldom announces itself. It seeps through cracks in walls, through conversations held in half-spoken truths. Learn to read the white space of dialogue, the pauses pregnant with intent. Predators understand the psychology of scarcity, not merely the lack of resources, but the illusion of limitation imposed by society. Break those illusions and expand the boundaries of what you deem possible. In financial warfare, deception is a blade both elegant and cruel. Learn the art of the feint. Reveal just enough of your hand to mislead, then strike where your opponent's defenses are weakest. Your inner landscape is a haunted mansion filled with echoes of old ambitions and forgotten dreams. Explore every corridor. Claim each room as territory for your desires. The predator's heart beats to the rhythm of strategic adaptation. When the terrain shifts, market crashes, rival alliances, your instincts recalibrate, eyes gleaming with the thrill of new conquest. Every contract you draft should read like a pact with destiny, not a mere agreement between parties. Embed your vision within its clauses so your opponent unknowingly paves the road for your triumph. The most potent weapons are forged in isolation. Retreat into periods of blackout focus, where no distractions penetrate. In these silent crucibles, your strategies crystallize into unbreakable doctrines. Observe the world through the lens of competitive survival. Every handshake a test of strength, every offer a battlefield. Let this vigilance become second nature, etched into your reflexes. Failure is the predator's tutor, stern and unyielding. When you taste defeat, extract its marrow of lessons. Digest it fully, then transmute its bitterness into the sweetness of renewed strategy. Behind every empire of wealth lies a scaffolding. Sacrifices. What will you allow to crumble? Comforts, relationships, illusions to erect your monument of success. The predator's creed demands ruthless self-honesty. Strip away every excuse, every sentimental veil, until only the raw drive to ascend remains. This naked will is your fiercest weapon. In the theater of power, charisma is the mask you wear. Mysterious, alluring, impenetrable. Refine your voice, your gaze, your posture until they become instruments of magnetic influence. Survival is an illusion, a false comfort fed to those too weak to rise above it. The predator does not seek survival, it seeks dominance. Survival is for those who are content to merely exist, to live within the narrow confines of what is given to them. But the predator knows that the world is vast, that power lies beyond survival, and that only those who reach for it will ever truly thrive. The predator is not motivated by fear, nor does it allow fear to dictate its decisions. In fact, it understands that fear is an ally. It sharpens the senses, quickens the mind, and prepares the body for action. Fear, when properly understood and channeled, becomes a tool that drives the predator forward, not something to be avoided or conquered. It is a force to be embraced. In the world of predators, power is not just about money or status. It is about control. Control over your own destiny, control over the environment around you, and control over the people who cross your path. The predator does not seek validation from others. It creates its own rules, builds its own empire, and makes its own decisions. In this way, it never becomes beholden to anyone. What most fail to realize is that every predator was once prey. Every great leader, every influential figure, every titan of industry started from a place of weakness. The difference lies in their ability to recognize that weakness, to confront it head-on, and to use it as the catalyst for their transformation. It is the ability to embrace your own flaws and turn them into your greatest strength that defines the predator. For the predator, every action is a test of willpower. There are no shortcuts, no easy routes. Success is earned through a relentless pursuit of excellence, through mastering the art of patience, strategy, and execution. The predator does not settle for mediocrity. It strives for greatness in every aspect of its life. Perhaps deep down, you've always known this truth, that the world is not a place of fairness but a place of power. Perhaps you've always felt that something inside you is capable of far more than you've allowed it to achieve. You are capable of greatness, but only if you embrace the predator within. There is a primal satisfaction in the pursuit of power, a satisfaction that transcends money, status, or fame. It is the satisfaction of knowing that you are in control of your own fate, that you are the architect of your own destiny. To think like a predator is to take ownership of your life in a way that few others will ever dare to do. The predator's world is one of uncertainty, risk, and constant movement, but it is also a world of immense opportunity, a world where power and wealth are not given, but taken. Those who understand this truth and act on it will find themselves not only surviving but thriving. The predator does not wait for the world to change. It changes the world. So now ask yourself, are you content with the life you have, or are you ready to embrace the predator's mindset and transform your reality? The choice is yours. And as you stand on the edge of this decision, know that the hunt is just beginning. To the predator, the hunt is never about instant gratification. It's about calculated patience, an understanding that every step is part of a grander scheme. While others rush, driven by impulse, the predator waits, silently assessing, positioning itself for the perfect moment. This moment may not come immediately, but when it does, it is always decisive, always lethal. The predator's mind is built for such moments. It operates with clarity, never clouded by emotions or fleeting desires. It is the stillness in chaos, the precision in uncertainty. In a world that often rewards rash actions, the predator thrives by standing still when others move, waiting for their missteps to reveal vulnerabilities. This is the ultimate strategy, patience without hesitation. It is not the predator's speed that defines its success, but its ability to harness time itself. For while others waste it, the predator bends it to its will, manipulating every passing second to its advantage, knowing that the perfect strike requires time to line up. And yet time is not the only tool in the predator's arsenal. Its true power lies in its ability to adapt. To survive is to adapt, but to dominate is to master the art of transformation. The predator understands that when faced with new challenges, the response is not to cling to what worked in the past, but to evolve, to become something more than what it was before. And yet time is not the only tool in the predator's arsenal. Its true power lies in its ability to adapt. To survive is to adapt, but to dominate is to master the art of transformation. The predator understands that when faced with new challenges, the response is not to cling to what worked in the past, but to evolve, to become something more than what it was before. This is where true strength lies, not in the muscles or the mind, but in the spirit to change. The predator transforms pain into power, mistakes into lessons, fear into fuel. It grows stronger with each challenge, knowing that every trial faced is another layer of armor added to its being. To do this, however, requires a level of self-awareness that few possess. The predator knows its weaknesses and doesn't shy away from them. Instead, to do this, however, requires a level of self-awareness that few possess. The predator knows its weaknesses and doesn't shy away from them. Instead, it confronts them directly, knowing that only by acknowledging its limitations can it transcend them. The predator is never the victim of its circumstances, but the master of its own narrative. Every opportunity the predator encounters is treated with the same cold logic. It is either a means to an end or a distraction to be avoided. Opportunities are not to be seized blindly. They must be carefully weighed, examined for their potential return, The predator does not chase after every fleeting desire. It focuses on what will yield the greatest reward in the long run. This is why the predator's pursuit is not about small gains. It is about creating leverage, about setting the stage for grander moves. While others scramble for immediate rewards, the predator plays the long game, stacking advantage after advantage in its favor, until it has a position so strong that the outcome is inevitable. Success in this world, then, is not defined by wealth alone, but by power, the ability to shape your environment, to influence those around you, and to bend circumstances to your will. The predator does not simply react to the world, it defines the terms of its existence. It does this through influence, through subtle manipulation, through the understanding of human nature. The predator knows that people are not just to be controlled, they are to be understood. Every person in your life is a potential tool, a resource that can either hinder or help your ascent. The predator uses this understanding to its advantage. To the predator, relationships are not about love or loyalty, but about value. In a world where trust is a fleeting currency, the predator uses others as stepping stones to greater heights. It keeps its allies close, but it never forgets that its true loyalty lies with itself and its goals. And yet, there is one unspoken truth that binds all predators. They are never satisfied. Once they reach one peak, they seek the next. The predator is driven not by contentment, but by an insatiable hunger. It is a hunger for growth, for more, for power, for dominance. This hunger is what propels them, keeps them moving, never allowing them to rest on their laurels. In this relentless pursuit, the predator becomes an unstoppable force. While others are lulled into the comfort of complacency, the predator remains hungry, ever driven, ever striving. It is this hunger that fuels every success, propels every victory, and keeps the predator constantly evolving. But here's where most fall short. They confuse survival with success. The predator knows that survival is only the beginning. It is not enough to simply exist. It is about thriving, about transcending. While others are content to stay afloat, the predator seeks to dominate the waters. The difference between surviving and thriving is not luck, it is design. The predator doesn't wait for opportunities, it creates them. It doesn't wait for the world to change, it changes the world. By manipulating circumstances, by taking control of its own fate, the predator ensures that success is not just a possibility, but a certainty. So ask yourself, where do you stand in this world? Are you still waiting for your moment, still watching from the sidelines as others take control? Or are you ready to embrace your inner predator, to move through the world with the power to shape your own destiny, to seize your place at the top? The choice is yours, the hunt awaits.